to technical and professional work as engineers and doctors and lawyers and as scientists.
Historically, immigrants from Asia were brought in as cheap labor, and many new arrivals still work at low-paying jobs. The big demand today, however, is for scientists, engineers, and wealthy investors. Immigration quotas for these categories were raised last year. Young immigrants learn to adapt most easily, but they often bring lessons of their own.
Well, I think the basic difference is in the value system of the two cultures. In the Orient, most people consider the educated people as of a higher class or something. But in America, in order to be a higher class, you have to have more money.
What I found was that the first day I came to new school, that I don't know anything else, English, science, and nothing else but math, because what I learned in 6th grade was equivalent of what I'm learning probably in 8th grade or 9th grade here. I just found out that it's really slow here. In China, they really push you.
Schooling in some Asian nations is 80 days a year more than in the United States. They believe that to develop economic power, you must first maximize the production of brain power. But in the United States, public education is failing to prepare students for the demands of this high-tech era.
The coefficient of a quadratic term in each case has been 1. Now,
special honors high schools like Brooklyn Tech in New York are trying to bridge the gap, and the new Asian students are a big part of that effort.
I think nationally we'd be in tough shape in a number of areas if we didn't have this Asian immigration, particularly in areas, intellectual areas, and in some of the sciences. We'd be in trouble in graduate schools. They wouldn't be able to fill some of the graduate school programs in the sciences if these kids weren't doing it. So we're fortunate that they're here at a time when we need a certain renewal, restructuring in our own society, and they're going to be, I think, a good deal of the backbone of it.
Whether you're born here, or you come here, or you shift here, whatever you want to call it, right? There's always, America offers a chance, which will always be open for me. I'll always be American. You know, people may see me Asian, oh, she's Chinese, like, oh, look at the teeth, you know, but I'll always be American, whether they see it or not.
For immigrants, this remains the land of hope and haven. But for many Americans, it has become a society that has not lived up to its promise. More and more citizens live hungry and homeless in our major cities. Violence, crime, and drugs spread while hospitals, schools, and libraries are cut back across the country. The nation's weakened economy intensifies many of its social problems, hurting Americans at home and crippling the country's ability to compete in the international marketplace.
In the long run, a nation's ability to sort of make its way in the world depends on its ability to earn its way in the world. American politics seems not to have found a way to deal with this fundamental fact. Every so often, somebody burbles up and says, oh, the foreigners are taking advantage of us. Oh, we have to be tough on the foreigners, especially the Asians. But almost nobody has developed some serious way of saying, in the long run, we have to do things differently if we're to defend our national interests.
I have a feeling that something is slipping away from us. Now, maybe it takes an apocalyptic event. If it does, I'm sorry to hear it, because a lot of people are going to get hurt. But we are in a crisis now. It may be an amorphous crisis, but a crisis it is. And for the first time in my grown-up life, and I am 57 years old, I never was worried in World War II. I wasn't worried in Korea, and I wasn't worried in Vietnam, and I wasn't worried in Watergate. For the first time in my life, I am worried about the future of this country.
The Pacific is not just a part of our history, it's a part of our future. It's the greatest challenge we have before us. And America's pluralistic society, interestingly enough, is the only nation in the Pacific capable of playing a leading role in bringing all these different races, peoples, ideas, and theories together.
From the earliest days of this republic, the destinies of America and Asia were joined. Yankee traders sailed west to make their fortunes. As the nation grew, we came to see the Pacific as our rightful domain. Later, as Japan and other Asian nations began to modernize, conflicts developed. The United States fought 3 wars in the Pacific over the past half-century, and for a time we saw the region in terms of old-fashioned military power and Cold War bases. Now, as we approach the 21st century, we begin to see national achievement differently. More than any other factors, the meteoric rise of Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and maritime China, among others, have shown us that a nation's strength lies more in its manufactures than in its missiles. There is a new dynamic coursing through the Pacific nations. It is fueled by investment in education, a commitment to government, and the belief that economics is more than the pursuit of private gain. It is the means to build a better nation. Today we must reinvent our mission. Competition is not the same as war. By strengthening our economy while reaching out to the region around us, we can turn the divisions of the past into a shared future. The Pacific Century.